Happy Thursday, everybody. Jim Malone here with Dallas Trading Floor. Coming to you live. The bear is out of its cage, I'm afraid. The market is just not acting great. We had a sell-off yesterday. We're in one of these weird, where we're not in a, we're kind of going sideways. The market's pulling back a little bit. I was stopped out of a lot of positions, and it's just kind of a, it's just kind of one of those. We're going to have to kind of look at our strategy here. We're gonna have to look at our strategy here to kind of change things. But without further ado, I would like to get into a little Iron Condor that I put together today, which might be some relief. This is a way to put a little bit of money into your account. This is what I did today. And by the way, it's available if you go to, of course, Dallas Trading Floor and just sign up. It's on there. It's just click it. It's the Costco Iron Condor trade. And by the way, if you're looking on TikTok, that's available on that too. Just go to my profile, click on the link, and you should be able to see that great trade. By the way, if you're looking on TikTok, I'm going to be showing slides here. Unfortunately, I can't show them on TikTok, so you're just going to see the talking head. But if you go to this address, bit.ly/DTF433, you'll go right to the YouTube feed, and you'll be able to see this as we do it. So here we go. This is the Iron Condor on Costco, and I just kind of want to show you. By the way, this deck is available. If you go to www.Dallas Trading Floor, click on the link, you go right to the deck. Also, it's available on with my profile on TikTok. So anyways, let's get into it. Costco, as you know, is a top-rated stock, of course, and it is. I do believe it's going to kind of go sideways, at least for right now. It has a fair amount of volatility, but it's the number one rank in its category. What has happened with this one is it's come down, it's tested, and it's going back up. Now, the Iron Condor is kind of the best of all worlds trade. It's basically, a bull. It's basically a combination of a bear call spread and a bull put spread, kind of in one, and so it kind of benefits from that. Here's kind of the breakdown of the trade that I made today. There's actual numbers I put out. To open the trade, you have to basically buy and sell these contracts. I'm going for the December 17th trade. This basically put into my pocket $553 today. Not a lot, but hey, just like Guggenheim once said, you try to make money every day in the market. This is, I'm going to many of these option trades because I'm mostly in cash right now, but I want to still be in the market. I still want to see if I can make money in the market, and I do that by limiting my exposure, but also by doing these trades. And the Iron Condor is really good for this kind of environment, kind of where it's sort of going sideways, not really up, not really down, but kind of volatile. So this is good for that kind of trade. Basically, the entry cost, this is putting about $353 in my pocket based on this, and then there is a risk, and the maximum risk on this one, the maximum return on this one, it's pretty good. It's about it's about $647 on this one. So we'll see. This kind of is how it is looking right now. Costco is when this slide was taken. Let me just see if I can. This is taking a few minutes. So let's see where Costco closed today. Costco closed at 525. So this is pretty much right about here. And as you can see, hopefully, if this bounces and moves a little bit sideways and up, we should be in the profit zone. So right today, it closed basically at about 520. But it's 520 after hours. So I don't know. We'll see if this one works. We may have to close it early. Hopefully we won't. But that's kind of what's happening here. Just wanted to show you about managing risk. I have a little bit of section on this one that kind of goes into that. And I use these conditional limit orders to basically stop it out. This is all in the deck, so you can definitely review that. This is the risk profile, of course. If it moves above up to about 580, we should be fine. So we'll see what happens on that. trade. Just kind of wanted to put that out there for everybody. And of course, it is available by going to www.Dallas Trading Floor, and you'll be able to see the links to it directly. So you'll be able to see that. So back to the slides here to see if we can get anything here. So basically what's happening here, we are in a uptrend under pressure. Okay, so basically where we want to be with our portfolios is we don't want to be any more than about 50% in cash. I'm actually less than that right now. We want to be about 50% in cash and then 50% in stock or options, and I'm definitely there. If this thing turns down, of course, I will send you out a message if you are subscribed to the Action Trade Alerts. And of course, that's at www.Dallas Trading Floor. I'll send that out as soon as I know that. And if we go into a market in correction, then we want to be fully out of the market. But right now, we're kind of one toe in, one toe out, with 50% in the market. So that's kind of an important thing. Just kind of wanted to show you, we did have a rebound today on some of the major market indexes here. The Dow is basically up. So is the S&P. So is the NASDAQ, but just slightly. And the Russell is up as well. So you're looking at this, you think, wow, everything is great. Coast is clear. No problems. But, it's just not been a great market to trade. So I'm pretty much in cash. And, it's kind of a good idea to be a little bit safe. I did put on, of course, the Costco Iron Condor just because it benefits from volatility. We're having a lot of volatility in the market. So hopefully this works forward. If not, I'll have to close it early. But that's kind of the situation here. Here is my very much diminished small portfolio. As you can see, there's almost nothing in it. I was stopped out of Apple. What I did is last night, I set my stop losses up. I took my profits, and I'm kind of waiting for better entries. But I'm still in Ford, as you can see, and I'm still in Rambus. Those are the two that I'm in. And in my other portfolio, in my crypto portfolio, I'm all out of that. I'm totally in cash. I got stopped out of Hut 8 mining, unfortunately, and I also got stopped out of GBTC, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. As you know, Bitcoin has moved a little bit lower today, so I'm out, kind of waiting for the right conditions to show up again. I hope they will. Here's kind of everything that I have. Boy, and I don't have a lot of positions. I'm only in 4 stocks. Can you believe that? I'm in the QQQ. Now, with the QQQ, it's up today. I did sell yesterday as a precautionary, the day before yesterday, as a precautionary measure. I sold half of my position in this, taking cash. I'm half in, half out. That's part of this ETF strategy that I think you really would like. And that is basically, if the market is a confirmed uptrend, we want to be 100% in the Qs. If it is a market trend, untrend up pressure, 50% cash, 50% Qs. And if it's in a correction, you want to be all out of the Qs, all in cash. I use this for my ready cash, the cash that I'm going to be using in less than 270 days. Typically my tax, this is my tax account, and I get a little bit of extra income by doing that. Of course, I'm in Ford, as everybody knows, and that one has been doing okay. Rambus, this is also in the small portfolio. And then I do have 100 shares of Nike. I have a covered call. I sold a covered call in my margin account on this one, and that's doing fairly well. It's up today, fortunately. So that seems to be hanging in there. I'm just trying to find appropriate entries. It's just a tough market to trade right now. And, entries have not been, as easy to come by, unfortunately. They just really haven't. So without any more, just let's get to the questions. Any thoughts on stocks? Oil stocks. Great question. Let's roll over. I'm just going to roll over to the let's see. I'm gonna roll over to some of the better sectors in the economy in the groups right now, and that is, let's see. I'm just going to do this. The oil stocks have fallen a little bit. I just want to see if we can get back kind of to back to where we're going. And I kind of want to show you what stocks are doing the best and which ones are not doing the best. So let's come on over to the list of stocks here, and we should get that up. There we go. All right. So here we go. Basically, with the ranking of all the sectors of the market, currently number one is retail department stores. I've been burned there a few times. I was in Kohl's, got stopped out of that. I've been focusing kind of on the semiconductor area because that one tends to be doing the best. I have been stopped out of so many stocks, though. The only semiconductor stock I'm currently in is Rambus. And unfortunately, it is above where it's viable. I got stopped out of Nvidia. Did make a little bit of profit on it, though, because I was pushing my stop loss to protect that. And it did sell to strength. So let's take a look at the at the semis. Actually, basically, let's not look at this. Yeah, let's look at the semis. The semis are doing quite well. This is one of the best areas. But let's see if we can get back to an area that we can, we can look at again. So let's go in there, and let's see if I can. Let's look at the oils as you had indicated, because I think that's good. The oils have fallen quite a ways. The internationals seem to be doing better. But I'm going to there we go. But this is still doing pretty good. 6 months ago, this was the number 2 ranked. It's now the number 7 ranked. So let's see if there's anything that we can find. Nice bounce here on the group. Excuse me. Let me see if I can go through and find something that's setting up nicely. I'd look at the top stocks. Let's look at Devon. Let's see kind of where that's at. Well, that's kind of the same. Looking back, let's see. I'm just kind of going through some of the stocks to see if there's any ones that are really set up. Denver, Devon, Pioneer. I sold Pioneer, and these are off the high, so they're quite a bit off the highs. Some of them seem to be reversing. I hope higher. Let's look at Matador. I just want to look to see. Yeah, okay. Matador is close to a buy. Matador is close to a buy. So this is one you might want to put on your watch list. It is kind of a screwy thing. There is a stage 2 cup formation with a pivot at 38.05. It's currently at 37.33. So we're right below the pivot. It basically came up, moved past the pivot, gave up everything, and now I think it's starting to make a move higher. We shall see if this is the case. This is one you might want to watch list on this one. This one might be a good, potentially a good one. Let's kind of look at see. I want to give this a smell test to see, kind of how it's looking, to see if there's anything on the technicals that we can see. Okay, it's basically up 4% today, which is excellent. It's off about 6% for the. See what I'm talking about? This is a very volatile market, and it's about 4% off the quarter. Year to date, it's up tremendously though, 188%. So, and of course, we're almost at the end of the year. So, but the checklist looks good on Matador. It basically is a 78. That's not bad. In this market, though, I would just be super careful. We're 2% below the pivot, and this is not necessarily a bad place to buy it. It did close at the top of the range today, so this one might be one that you could possibly look at. MTDR, I'm going to kind of put that down as one that's possible. I'm not saying that I would buy it necessarily, but it's possible. Let's look at the options on it and see if they tell us any story. Not really. So 98, this is a good one. 98 relative strength, so it's very strong. It did a round trip, but it's right below the pivot, so that's not necessarily bad. This is kind of a weird cup with handle, and really, if we were to buy this correctly, what I would do here, and what I'm doing is I'm drawing a reversal line on the top of the handle, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set an alert on that, just because that is going to give us sort of where we need to be above. So here's how I would buy that one. I would like to see it. Gosh, I would like to see it move above this line before I bought it, just because I want to make sure that it's reversed properly. So Above about 44 is where I would buy this one. So you could buy this with a buy stop limit order, and that might work. That might work on this one. I probably would not buy it today. I'd probably wait to see if it can hold this and move up above the 40-day line. That's kind of what I would do. But this one is looking good. Let's kind of look at the let's look at the fundamental analysis. And by the way, what I'm doing here when I'm looking at the charts, basically when I'm looking at the charts, that is technical analysis. That's CANSOM technical analysis. But I switch over and I do fundamental analysis. This is kind of your medium radar. That's kind of how I look at it. I always want to buy a stock that's looking good in terms of its sales. And that has definitely been the case with Matador. Look at this. We're up 464%, 68%, excuse me, in the first quarter. We're up 132% in the second quarter. And look at these profits. The profits come with the sales. Anytime a stock typically has more than 2 or 3 quarters of over 20% sales growth, it's going to be something that you want to look at. We have this one is mainly fund, 62% in there, so there's a lot of good fund ownership on this, and the return on equity is very good at 4%. If you compare that to other stocks, so I do kind of like Matador, but here's the thing: I don't want to buy it right now as it's in a downward trend. I want to see if it's going to reverse above that pivot, and if it does, then I am probably a buyer of Matador. So that's probably the best one that I've seen. Unfortunately, the market itself is pulling back, and this is always tough because when it's volatile like this, it's hard to buy it. We want to buy it. The group is good. That's this. The group is good. It's fallen a little bit. It's 43 out of 197, but we're still in the top 20% of all of the groups in the stock market. So I do like that. I do like that. I'm gonna hold on one second. I'm gonna take a call here. Hi, John. How are you? Hey, Merv.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm right in the middle of my show. Are you available to be called? Can I call you back?
Well, I'll be at the pub about 5 o'clock.
I will be there. Thank you. Bye-bye. Sorry about that, everybody. That's an old friend of mine, Mervyn Price, and I'm going to be, having a beer with him later at 5 o'clock. So that is a good thing. So now you get a little understanding of my exciting, not so exciting life. Anyways, thank you for bearing with me on that. Let's take a question from Matt. Thank you so much, Matt. Let's look at RHI. Let's Robert Half. I do like this one. I did sell out of Robert Half, and it's been a good stock, and I still think it has a ways to go. It looks like it's testing. So let's go back to the daily chart to see. Yeah, it definitely tested at the 40-day line. It may be time. It's right above the buy zone, but I do like this one as well. This one should do well even in a downturn. RHI, it's got a 93 relative strength and it's pointing up. Some nice buying activity there. Nice checklist, 88%. I'm liking that. Pattern recognition. Well, it's up 6% from the pivot. That's very good. That's very good. Typically, you want to buy it within 5% from the pivot. I want to see how this one trades, but it does look very, very, very good. This one does look very good. I do like this company a lot. I've liked it for a long time, and it does appear that it is up today 2%, 2.8%. It's a little bit off the week. It's a little bit off. It's a little bit off for the week, but it's overall it's looking pretty decent, and it's up 73% this year. So I definitely like Robert Half. I may initiate another position in it if it bounces off this line. I do like this action. I really do like this action. It's showing strength, and I do think that no matter what, this sector of the economy should do very well. The staffing area, mainly their technical staffing, as you know, they a lot of programmers, a lot of accountants, that kind of thing. But this one definitely is viable, and I think it's viable right here at this level. So I really appreciate question, Matt. I really do think this question. So I believe right now, I believe right now that definitely this is viable. So I just think I think it's basically viable. And I don't say that on many stocks right now. I just don't say that on many stocks, but it is viable. And Robert Half, RHI is the symbol, of course. Thank you so much, Matt, for bringing that up. Let's see. You also were looking at ships, SNPS. This is the SNPS. This is the I'm sorry, synopsis. Very much in the software design group, of course. Boy, this is also a good chart. I'll be honest with you. This is a good chart. It's right in the buy zone. You could probably buy this. This is set up very, very well. SNPS. This is set up very well, and it's also in the top of the market. So, in a volatile market like this, where we don't want to be more than 50%, in the stock market, this is one that we could definitely probably do here. It did test. It tested the 21-day lines above the 21-day line. I just kind of want to see exactly. I want to see exactly what is the situation. I want to see what the situation is. Yeah, it's a 0.6 over the 10-day line. That's looking very good too. So Matt, two really good ones, RHI and SNPS. Thank you very much for that. Those are both good. Those are very good. Those are both very good stocks and well set up. They're both viable right now. If you had 25K, this is a question from TikTok. If you had 25K to put into a stock for 90 days, what do you suggest? Good question. Here's what I would do. Here's what I would do. I would take 25K and I wouldn't put it into a stock. I'd put it into an index fund. And probably the index fund that I would put it into would be the QQQ. Now, why the QQQ? Well, the QQQ has one of the best lineups in terms of stocks. It has the mega cap stocks, mega cap techs in here, and many of the people that are nervous in the market are putting money into the mega cap stocks. Now, not all of the stocks in the Nasdaq are holding up, but here's what I would do if I were in a situation like that. I would put half of my money, or $12,500. I would put it into the QQQ Trust, and then I would retain half in cash. So this is what I would do. This is not a bad place to enter the Qs. It's up a little bit, and it does look like it's getting some support. I was sold out of these. I took my profits, but I'm probably going to go all back in. I'm probably going to go all back in because it does look like it's getting support. So what I would recommend, if I only had 25K to put in for 90 days, I would put them in the QQQ because I think there's a high likelihood you won't hit a home run with that, but you will probably do very well if you follow that advice. So that's kind of my little advice there. Okay, let's look at NIO. And NIO, of course, is a Chinese EV maker. It's been taking it a little bit on the chin as of late. It's just been tough for NIO. It's fallen below that 40-day line. It's below the reversal line. It's got a relative strength of 25. I just don't think right now you can buy this. Even though it does have a very good checklist, it is just not very good. It's 35% below the pivot, the cut pivot that it made 228 days ago. So the overall trend of NIO, at least in the last 228 days, unfortunately, is downward. And that is not good. The last time it had a prior uptrend was back when it broke out in January of this year. So I don't think you can be very bullish on Neo, not right now. I just think it's time to not be in the stock, and so my advice on this one is, I just, this is not a good time. This is just not a good time for the stock. It's not a good time for Neo. I just don't think it is, and it's just not a good time for it. I think you got to be careful with the stock overall. So that's kind of my take on Neo. I think it's just not something you want to be in right now. It's got a downward trend, and just not really looking good. Hello to Mark. Thank you very much. Hope you're doing well there in Rhode Island. Okay, great. Neo, the story about China stocks being dislisted. Interesting. I have call spreads. Interesting. Yeah, this is I think put spreads on this one might be appropriate because a lot of the China stocks are under pressure. I want to take a look at BABA. I do think that this is a potential short. I've been looking at this kind of for potential short for a while, and I kind of want to show you this. This is really an awful chart, which you normally think, oh God, it's a terrible chart. I'm not going to invest in it. Well, one of the great things about options is that you can make money if the stock is going up, going down, going sideways. So there's a little bit of choice here. I think BABA is going to get hit a little bit harder. As you can see, I've got you see it just fell below my zone. And I do think that if it rallies, if there's a dead cat bounce here, and this is interesting because look at this. All of these sales numbers are super duper excellent. But guess what? We're starting to see the profits go away. So this might be a good time for a short. Is it a classic? Is it a classic head and shoulders? Not really. But I do think we're going to see it rally up to the 40-day line. It's rallying right now. If this rallies up and it breaks, that might be a good short. So I'm going to put that on my list for potential shorts. And that's BABA. BABA. Now, I probably will not short this directly. I'll use puts to do this. Puts or a put spread. That's probably what I'm going to do here. I just don't want to touch the stock. It's radioactive, and I just don't want to do that. So this one might be a potential short. I don't know yet. I'm going to kind of work it out and see. I do think it's very weak, and it's been a high flyer. So this is a potential short. I do think this one is a potential short. And we'll see. I do think if it rallies up to the 40-day line, then we might have up to the 10-week line that we're on the weekly charts, not on the daily charts. If it rallies up to that 10-day line, then I think that might be a very, very good short. That would be right about here. That would be right about here, about 152 or so. It's got a ways. We'll see, but it is rallying. I just kind of want to look at the 15-minute chart. Yeah, nothing special there. Let's see. Okay, yeah, this is probably the better tell here. I want to see it rally, obviously, to the 40-day line. Might not be able to. If it rallies to the 21-day line, that's where I might short it right there. If I could get a rally up to that 21-day line, so that might be a potential short, BABA, and just one you might want to look at for potential shorting. So, all right, boy. Let's see if anyone. Yeah, I just want to. I'll get back to you, Mark, in just a sec. Thoughts on sell put option on TNA? Is it too risky? Let's look. TNA. Well, what I would do instead of just doing the nakeds, I would look. Oh yeah. yeah. I would say that's too risky. I didn't realize it. This is the 3x short. That would be pretty risky. I agree with you, Sudhir. You might come out on this one. Absolutely, you might come out on this one. But yeah, no, I wouldn't do this with. I wouldn't short using puts a ETF that's a 3x. I just, boy, that's a little bit too rich for me. You know, not saying that it can't work. I'm not saying that it can't work, but boy, that's a lot of risk. I think you want to probably not do that. I just, I think that's a little too risky. I think you want to be a little bit more risk averse. Um, just a little bit risky. So we want to be, I just think you want to be, I just think you want to be a little bit more careful. I think you just want to be a little bit more careful. This one it's just a little bit too risky. So I'd be careful with this. I really would. I'd be careful with this one. I probably wouldn't do it. Of course, you know, I'm not giving advice here. I'm just kind of telling you what I would do. So pretty risky for me. I wouldn't do it. Anyways, yeah. Hey, hi, Elsa. How are you doing? And let's see. Hello. Thoughts on Nvidia? I was I was stopped out of Nvidia, and that was pretty painful. It's pretty painful because it's coming back today. Nvidia is probably one of the best stocks in the market right now. I've just been very conservative with my stops. As you can see, I got stopped out here at about 317. It's up after hours. This could be a very nice bounce. Again, this is not necessarily a great place to buy it, but it is. This is what they call a shelf. I'll kind of show it to you. This is kind of what they call a shelf here, shelf action. So I do think, it does seem to be holding the 10-day line. It's just, this is a tough place to buy it. I'd kind of wait for some more confirmation here, but great stock. And, the action is great. I was buying back down here below the pivot, and then I wrote it up and then I sold it. Then I bought it again and I sold it again. So I may be back in. I've made money on the stock. This has been a good one for me. But I wouldn't buy it. If it was my first buy, I wouldn't be buying it here just because it just doesn't set up right. It's not that it's a bad stock. It's a very, very good stock. But, it's just the question is, it's not just being in the right stock. It's buying it at the right level. That's the key. I've been in a lot of the right stocks and bought them at the wrong level. So, that happens all the time. Thoughts on BBW? Well, I always think about BBW. No, I shouldn't say that. I always think about BBWs. No, I like everybody. Build-A-Bear Workshop. Is it working? Well, it is kind of working. This sort of a flagging pattern. Let's look at the weekly chart. Sometimes I go to the weekly chart to see what the news is. There's a blue dot special on Build-A-Bear Workshop, and I have owned this one before. I have owned Build-A-Bear. It might be in a place. It might be breaking out of this consolidation. The pivot is 21. That's right here, 21 on this consolidation. So it may be breaking out of this. Boy, their earnings have been great. Look at their numbers. Look at their sales numbers. Just fantastic. And I suspect they're coming into their best season, which of course is Christmas. And I think they ought to do well. A little concerned with the cash flow. It is negative cash flow, which, for these, but I think that if you look at these numbers, I think they're going to turn that around. Let's look at the checklist. Yeah, it's a great checklist. Look at that. It's 89%. Very, very good checklist. And on the pattern rack, well, it is 6% above the pivot in 1 week. Wow, that's pretty strong. So what can you do with that? Well, it's tough. You could buy it here. It's just slightly, and I mean ever so slightly extended. 5% above the pivot is the limit for the buy zone. But 1%, buying 1% above that, not too worried about that. As long as it's in a strong sector. Retail is a strong sector, 21 out of 197. So retail is a strong sector. So you know what I would say on this one, and I don't normally, in this market, I just don't, I'm not really saying this for much, but I just think it's great that you brought up this. But this is viable at this level. So I definitely think you can buy this one right now, as long as you don't go too much higher than this, but this is buyable. The buy point's 21. It's at 22.30, basically even after hours. Nice. There's strong volume coming in here. They had very good numbers on their earnings. Not a bad place to buy BBW. Not a bad place to buy because it had some very nice earnings. So this is looking good. This is a good looking chart. Let's kind of look at the kind of 20,000 foot view. Yeah, and this is good. It's coming back up to its former high level that it had back here in 2014. So this is looking good. BBW is looking good. It's looking like it is viable, and that indeed is a good thing. So let's look at the next one. Docusign. There's been a lot of pain with Docusign. I was stopped out of this one, and it was a little bit painful for me. That's for sure. It was a little bit painful for me. But here's the thing: we may be getting some. Oh no, we're not even getting some support. Look at that. It is just. Oh, I am so sorry. Look at this. Somebody big is selling. I don't know who this is, but it's down 28% after hours. And it had good earnings. I can't figure this one out. Thank goodness I wasn't in it. This, folks, is why you have the 7% rule. It's just one of those things. Unfortunately, the 7% rule can't handle it in after hours. That kind of sucks. But just really, this has got to be heartbreaking. So if you are down more than 7%, consider selling. I think that's really kind of what you got to do. You got to really consider selling it now, because it just, man, this is going to be the story of the day tomorrow. This is not a good sign, folks. This is not a good sign. This is a great stock. The fact that it's down this much, I just cannot figure out what the news is on this. Let's see if I can find anything here. Tesla versus, by the way, I'm out of Tesla too, and boy, it's just, this is not good. This is just not good. Let me see if I can find any news here that might be worth looking at. Boy. Nvidia. Okay, so Nvidia is look like it's going to be able to take. Okay, so they're investing in Nvidia again. I understand, because of Docusign. Here we go. Chipmaker is blah, 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 blah. Two former software leaders, Asana and Docusign, have been just killed. And I don't know why this is the case. I don't know why this is the case, but it is bad. It is awful, awful bad. So, I would consider selling this one. I just would. Unfortunately, golly. Fortunately, I wasn't in that one myself. But boy, I just, man, that is not good, Rajesh. That is not good at all. Wow. Is there any help for Workhorse? I don't think so. When it's funny when they start going bad, it's sometimes they go really bad. So I don't know. This is a horrible chart. Gosh, just nothing you can do. This is the reason for the 7% rule. You can never figure it out. You can never totally figure out what's going to happen. But Workhorse, you just gotta. This is a burning building. Time to get out of the burning building. I don't think there's any hope for it. This is hopeless. And I don't say that most of the time, but I am saying it on Workhorse. Yeah, I mean, I think for Workhorse, it's WKHS is hopeless. So, oh boy, and never like saying that, because I don't think anything is totally hopeless, but this is pretty darn close. Yeah, Workhorse is hopeless. I would sell this thing. Just scrape the stuff off your shoes on this one. I don't think this is when it's getting any better. I don't think it is. Very, very, very tough. All right. Any idea on Meta? Okay. Metaverse ETS. I don't know anything about a Metaverse ETS. I think is Facebook still? Let me just see if it's still in Meta platforms. Okay, Facebook is still trading under Meta platforms is now trading. Is still trading under FB. Um, this has been a downward trend to the bottom of the consolidation at 308. It's up a little bit after hours, but this does not look good on the chart. Does not look good on the chart. So I don't know. I don't know what to say on that. Probably would not be a buyer. Yes, I did. Whoop! Excuse me. I did. I got stopped out of Hut. I thought I was so smart. I was going to buy that on the reversal, but of course, the market is smarter than I am, and that's definitely true. A Hut came down. It bounced. I was out. I was out. Basically, I had my stop loss, and it didn't really annotate the chart. I had it right at the 40-day line. It just plummeted today, even though it had great earnings. So I don't know what the deal is. Yes, I did. Yes, I was stopped out. I was stopped out this morning, and it was right. It was early too. It was early. So yes, I was stopped out this morning, and it's just one of those things. Stopped out. So that's a good question. That's a good question because I thought I was going to be smart on that, and not so much. Not so much. Oh, goodness. All right. Palantir was a star. Now Palantir is going to hit the ground based on your expertise. Where can you expect to pivot at $16 or close to zero? Great question. That's the thing. Playing dead cat bounces has never been a great. I've never been great at playing the dead cats, but you definitely can make a lot of money by doing it. I just have not been that successful doing it. Currently, Palantir I think will come back. It's a great company. It's got great ideas, but it's trading below that deadly 200-day line. If you notice this, and I don't know if you can see it, I'm just trying to kind of put the little arrow there. You notice that this red line, that's the 40-day moving average. It looks like it's going to dive below that black line, which is the 200-day moving average. That is called, unfortunately, that's called the death cross. So it's not looking good. It's not looking good. The question is, how low can it go? Well, let's kind of go in the Wayback Machine. Remember that, the Wayback Machine? And see kind of where support has traditionally been on this. Well, it looks as if, I do believe that there is some support at about 17.15. Okay, that's basically what I'm showing here. So I do think that it's likely to bounce, and I don't know if it'll bounce up or bounce down. That's the key. It's likely to bounce here at about 17.15. So that's kind of where I see it. That was a good call, by the way, at $16. I would say it's a little higher than that. I would say that basically where it potentially will bounce. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to edit this and I'm going to put it in here for, I think it might be at 17.15 would be where the bounce is, potential bounce point. That's not really a canceling thing, potential bounce point. So I don't want to get you confused. There's no such thing as a bounce point, but I do think that it may bounce there. Why? Because that's where it pulled back. That's just after it IPO. That's just lower. It's lower low, so that's where it might go. So we'll see. But yeah, I think you're right. Palantir was a superstar, and now not so much. Not so much. All right, let's look at Tesla for people that are watching on TikTok. Thank you. Unfortunately stopped out of Tesla, but I really think that Tesla is it is a bellwether. It really is a bellwether stock, and I think it's really important that we continue to look at it. Today it pulled back, but it's getting some strength here after hours. It's up just slightly, about 185. I had my stop loss basically. Let's edit that. Basically at 1108. I really think that the true stop loss is about 1180. I mean 1080. It seems to be a number that it seems to be gathering. It seems to it seems to be at. So that's really kind of where I think we're going to see the bounce above that. So that's kind of where I would like to possibly buy it again, as long as Tesla is riding above that 21-day line, which is currently at about 1090. I think that would be the place to buy it. You'd want to buy it as it moves above that 1090. So we're real close to that now. We're at 1085. The question is, would I go in on that? Well, in this market, it's really tough because it's a sideways market. Market is uptrend is under pressure, so I would be super careful. But if I were going to count in an early entry, I would look possibly to go at that level. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Is this? I think you can see it here, kind of this level right here. This is the 21-day line. I think you can see it. That's sort of where I think that if it can stay above that line, I think that's viable. But boy, it is tough. I was stopped out at 11, basically at a little over 1100. It's now below that. When it gets some support, I'll probably be right back in because I do like the stock. I've made a lot of money on it. Mainly right now, I'm day trading it. I'm not really holding it long term. Hey, Wayne, thank you for that. The Baba, you look at some Baba 115s. Let's look at Baba again. Yeah, this one has been a. Get that going. For some reason, my pens are having all kinds of trouble today. So you've got 115 puts, not bad. Yeah, I think that might work actually. Looking at this chart, I think that might work. I'm just thinking I would probably go for a spread though. I'd probably limit it because you can get these awful dead cat bounces here. So it depends on where you're at. I would probably go out about a month or maybe more, maybe to the January expiry, and I might go with a 115 105 bull bear put spread. But I have to look at that. That's not bad. That's not bad. Oh, great. No, that's great. 115 represents the RSI. Okay. Relative strength. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. That definitely makes sense, Mark. I appreciate that. It definitely makes sense. That's actually a pretty good call. I don't like to do the naked ones because I like to limit my risk. But I think owning the 115, that's not a bad idea. That's really not a bad idea, Baba. So I kind of like that. I kind of like that trade. I probably would do the spread rather than I would probably do the spread rather than than just the out and out put spread, but just out and out buying the put. But that's me. I tend to like to be a little bit more conservative sometimes. Thoughts on Wish? Well, thoughts on Wish are not good. I wish it were better. I think that in life, there's a lot of times when you just have to throw in the towel. And unfortunately with Wish, I think that's that's the thing. I think with Wish, what you really need to do is, it's just time to, throw in the towel. I really think you really gotta throw in the towel on this one. I don't see Wish getting any better. It's got a relative strength of 1. That means that it's in the absolute bottom of the market. It's essentially in the dollar club right now. It's a dollar store because it's $3.30. Anything below about will it come back? Probably not. Probably not, because this is a dollar store stock. It's below $10. It still has some. It still has some funds that are in it, but it's falling. What we're starting to see on the fundamentals here is we're starting to see sales declines. We're already in losses, and it's below $3. Boy, I just think that you just need to throw in the towel on this one. It's sad, but I think you need to throw in the towel. This is a horrible chart. If you look at the monthly, it's nothing but trouble. Look at this. This is the entire history of Context Logic. It basically IPO'd very nicely, and then it just went down, 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 relative strength of 1. This is not good. This is bad juju on this one. Bad juju, and I think you need to throw in the towel on this. I know it's painful because I hate doing that too, but that's why I use the 7% rule. That's why I do, because sometimes you just it just goes against you. That's all you can do. All right, Semic. AMC. Talking about meme stocks here. AMC. And I probably should have made more money on this one than I did, but at least I got a little bit of money on this one. I kind of was playing follow the leader here. It's still above the reversal line, so that's good. It's fallen down to the 200-day line, but it seems to be gathering some strength once again. It seems to have definitely tested the 200-day line. That's a good thing. And let's look at the weekly chart here, but that is not necessarily a bad thing. Not a great weekly chart though. Boy, I know that I like AMC and I like their theaters. And I do like this fact that they have, their sales are going up. So if they could just get more people back into the theaters, it would be super. It's a great company. But I don't know if I want to buy it here. I'm a little bit of a scaredy cat on this one. I don't like that, but I do like the fact that it's tested. The question is, let's see if it can move above the 200-day line. That's the really thing. That's the thing that I think is so important. So, can it move and stick above the 200-day moving average? And that's kind of really that's kind of the long and short of it. I mean, can this move and stay above where this black line is? That's the question. And if it can, then we might have something. But I think right now, I just would be super careful, especially in this market condition, because right now, this market condition, it's just not a very good market in general. Well, I have take one last question from TikTok, because I'm running out of time today. I gotta be somewhere, actually. Let's look at CrowdStrike. Let's look at CrowdStrike. We haven't talked about this one. It has not been doing, unfortunately, very well. CRWD is the symbol for CrowdStrike Holdings. It did have a bounce. The question is this a dead cat bounce? It's fallen. Help, I've fallen and I can't get up. It's fallen below that 200-day line. I just don't like to buy anything below this. It's highly dangerous. It did fall below that. It seems like 200 seems to be, if you're a follower of Jesse Livermore, and who is Jesse Livermore, by the way? He's one of the greatest stock traders of all time. He was in the 1920s. He made an absolute fortune in the 29 crash. You should definitely get his book, Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. You should definitely get it. You should definitely read up on Jesse Livermore. He had a theory, and this is actually not more than a theory, is that things tend to bounce at whole numbers. 200 seems to be the whole number for CrowdStrike. Other than the moving averages, whole numbers are very, very important. It looks like we had a bounce right there at that 200 level, and it may be heading up. But boy, I just wouldn't be a buyer at this level. Just wouldn't be a buyer of CrowdStrike right now. Let's kind of do the smell test on it. 56 checklist. Yeah, this is not good enough. I want a very strong checklist in this kind of market. It's just very, very volatile right now. So I want a very strong checklist if I can get it. On the pattern recognition, we are below the pivot. 29 days, we're off 28%. Not so good. boy, it is just not what I want to see. Let's look at the technicals. It's up today 2.9%, but it's off 11% for the week. The question is this a dead cat bounce? Well, that's kind of saying that it may be a dead cat bounce. We'll see if it can hold the $200 day level. It's only, interestingly enough, with all these gyrations, it's only off 1.28% for the entire year. So that's very interesting. It's basically, if you were in this at the beginning of the year until now, you basically have round tripped all your profit and you're down about $1.28 if you had $100 invested. So wow, not interesting. A lot of pain from very little gain, unfortunately. Wow, that is interesting. Relative strength of 42. Don't like that. Just, I think you got to avoid it for right now. I think with CrowdStrike, it's just, you got to avoid it. You got to avoid. So you avoid this one. Avoid it for now. Yeah, and that's really all I'm saying here. That's really all I'm saying. You just got to avoid this one for now. CrowdStrike. I don't think it's, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good to me. It doesn't look good to me. All right. Well, talking about looking good, if you want to look good and you want to get on the action trailer, it's a great thing to do, obviously. And it's super easy. All you have to do is go to this address, and it is www.dellstradingfloor.com. And we also have a paid Discord service, which is great because, basically in the first 2 hours of, as they call the first hour, the amateur hour, I'm in there as an amateur trading, and hopefully, and also throughout the day, but mainly concentrating on the first 2 hours of trading. I'm in there trying to answer all the questions that I possibly can. We have a lot of other great traders in there. This is a paid service, but we have a lot of people that really like it. So I just want to kind of put it on your radar there. I will be back tomorrow, Friday. It is Friday, folks, and we will be back for basically at 2:30. 3:30. At 3:30, we'll be back. If you could, this is really helps me out so much. Please like this, because this will get this show. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or anything like that, please like this, because it gets us out to many more people. I know that there are a lot of people out there that would like to learn how to trade the Can Slim way, and this channel is sort of devoted to helping, basically traders learn the Can Slim system. It's really helped me. I didn't invent it, but I use it. I use a lot of the aspects of it, and it's a very good way to trade. Hopefully, if you like this thing, it will get out there to many more people, and we will get we'll get on the search engines. We're doing good. We're over 100,000 people on TikTok, and we're moving up towards a little over 10,000 subs on YouTube. Hopefully, we'll be more than that, and as time goes along. But if you could like it, it really helps. I will be back tomorrow at 3. I think 2:30, 3:30 Central Time. Everybody, have a good rest of the day. Happy trading. Stay safe, and I will see you back here tomorrow.